12 dead, dozens wounded when a lone gunman opens fire in a crowded movie theater. Police say he had 2 pistols, a shotgun, a military-style automatic rifle, and lots of ammunition. This happened in Colorado. But could it happen right here in Connecticut? Do we need to have even tougher gun laws right here? Well, that's the first question for our next guest. He is the Senate co-chair of the state legislature's Judiciary Committee, the Honorable Senator Eric Coleman, Democrat of Hartford. Thank you, Senator Coleman, for being in.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get to that first question. Could this have happened here under existing state law in Connecticut, the gun control? Could somebody have gone out and bought 2 pistols, an automatic rifle, and a shotgun, and all this ammunition with large magazines to hold hundreds of rounds of ammunition and carried out something like this?
You know, we would like to believe that it would not be able to happen in Connecticut. Unfortunately, there are no guarantees that it couldn't happen in Connecticut. Connecticut is one of the minority of states that have banned assault weapons, and we did that in 1993.
So we have a ban even though there's not a federal ban?
The state has a ban, yes. And the specific assault weapon that was used in Colorado is on our list of banned assault weapons here in the state of Connecticut. Unfortunately, however, although we did attempt, I believe in 2011, to ban large capacity ammunition magazines or clips, those are still legal in the state of Connecticut. And
is there no way to track somebody's purchases? So if you see somebody out there buying weapons, a group of weapons like this, that somebody's going to ask some questions, some alarm bells will go up? Or is it just a free market, people can buy what they want?
In the process for obtaining a gun permit, that process begins at the local level with the chief of police of the jurisdiction where the person who's applying resides. And there is a background check, and there are certain people that are prohibited from
convicted felons and so on. But of course we know that convicted felons can get guns when they want them. But when you have a man like the suspect in Colorado who had no criminal record, I suppose he probably just breezed through, even in Connecticut.
What I'd like to see some focus on in the state of Connecticut is for all of us to pay closer attention to people who may be exhibiting mental health issues, who might have been fined at some point in time, especially if they are known to be gun owners. I think we need to have some sort of system that will pay a little bit closer attention to the behavior and conduct that might be some signal that something's going wrong.
In the case of the suspect in Colorado, from what I understand, he hadn't been a gun owner before. I may have that incorrect, but I think that's correct. And so, I guess your focus on the mental health issues. If he exhibited some unusual behavior, much like the Homeland Security thing, if you see something, say something, is what we all should take to heart. If we see somebody acting a little strangely, talking strangely, becoming withdrawn, we should tell somebody. Who that somebody is, I'm not sure, but somebody needs to know about that.
Yes, I think there are certain state agencies that are overseeing the whole process of the issuance of gun permits, and the Department of Public Safety is one of those agencies. All of the local law enforcement agencies, I think, play a role and should be involved. The investigation and the background checks, the criminal history checks, I think they should probably become more intensive in light of what has happened in Colorado and other places.
So do you think there will be new initiatives to toughen Connecticut's already apparently fairly tough gun laws?
I would favor that, and as I referenced, I think it's just a matter of common sense to ban large capacity ammunition clips or magazines. So I'd like to see that legislation come back in the upcoming session of the General Assembly. As well, I think there's a lot of concern, and some of it founded, some of it, in my opinion, not so well founded, on the parts of sportsmen and gun owners, that whatever we do in the way of regulation of guns would adversely impact legitimate gun owners.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that those people who enjoy having weapons and are responsible for them feel like they're being punished for the acts of a lone person with mental health issues.
As in most things, I think there should be some reasonable balance struck. I think that some regulation is in order, and I think the courts have said that. No one is authorized under the Constitution of the United States or the state of Connecticut to own any kind of gun anywhere for any purpose. It is within the authority of the state to regulate gun ownership, and I think we would be well advised as a state to do that.
I want to ask you on another subject. Your Republican colleague, Senator John McKinney, this week has called for formation of a bipartisan committee to investigate the office of Democrat House Speaker Chris Donovan because of all the federal indictments in that campaign finance probe. One of the arrested workers in the Speaker's office, another may still be there. Would you support the formation of such a committee? Do you think McKinney's call is just a partisan stunt, or do you think?
Well, I think that's the danger, and I think when you bring it into the legislative arena, you always run the risk of having to take on some sort of partisan flavor. And in as much as the FBI is involved in investigating, in as much as there's been some independent review already, I'm not sure it wouldn't be overkill for the legislature to begin some inquiry into the matter.
At least at this stage.
At this stage, yes.
Now, in Meriden, you know, the convenience store owner who was killed recently, and the suspect, Frank Resto, there's been a lot of controversy over what happened in his case. He had been in prison for robbery, but he earned credits under the state's program for people, even people convicted of serious crimes, to get credits for getting involved in drug rehabilitation or other programs. Now, he was let out like 6 months or more early. And certainly the family of the victim in Meriden and others are wondering how the state is deciding, how the correction commissioner decides to let people out early and whether they deserve to be out. Is there no psychiatric examination for these people? What are the rules for that?
Well, my information may be a little bit different than yours. From what I understand, this particular individual was either very close to having served 85% of his sentence. I think he was serving time for a violent crime, and under that circumstance he was required to serve at least 85% of his sentence before he was permitted to be released. Now, the risk reduction earned credit program I think has some significant value. It's obviously, and I don't think anybody contemplated that it would be foolproof, but
do you think there needs to be a better job of, you know, another way of evaluating the risk involved in letting somebody out early, and how early?
From the very beginning of the debate on this particular program, I was in favor, and I think many others were in favor of the scrutiny being as stringent as it could possibly be. But I think I certainly have to concede, and I extend my condolences to the family of the victim in this case. But for whatever value there is to this program, I don't think anyone contemplated that it would be foolproof, and no one wanted any unfortunate circumstances to occur as occurred.
But you can understand why they want a better job done in the future.
Absolutely.
Well, Senator Coleman,
we should make every effort to do as good a job as we possibly can in screening people.
Senator Coleman, thank you so much for being on The Real Story today.
It's my pleasure.
Well, now we're going to get to our children. Are we doing a good enough job educating them? The latest test results indicate we sure could do better. What are the problems, and more importantly, what are the solutions? I'll be asking the new head of the state's largest teachers union as The Real Story continues.